Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me in this lesson. Today we are looking at prepositions. This is lesson number 7 in the series of grammar lessons that I've prepared for you. In this series I have about 31 lessons, so you will do well to watch all the videos because each lesson builds on top on the previous lesson. Okay, with that out of the way, let me just say that if you are not a subscriber to this channel, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so that every time I post a lesson, you'll be notified and you'll be able to access that lesson. Thank you so much for subscribing, and let's go into the lesson. What is a preposition? A preposition is a word or group of words that show the relationship between a noun or a pronoun on one hand and other words in a sentence. Let's look at this example. John is in the house. John is in the house. So we've got John, which is a noun, and then we've got the house, which is another, which are part of that sentence. Now, what we know about John in this situation is that he is in the house because the sentence says John is in the house. How do we know his location? Because of the word in. So that is the relationship that John shares with the house. It is the location where John is as we are speaking about him now. Okay. Prepositions also provide additional information about different aspects. Like we have mentioned, they can provide information about location, as we have seen. They can provide information about direction. They can provide information about time, about cause, about manner, and about other relationships that nouns share with other words in the sentence. So we are going to look at these as we go with the lesson, but for now let me just give you different examples based on what I've mentioned. So if we say the book is on the table, so we've got the book and the table. You can see that the relationship there is that the location of the book is on the table. Then we have time. We will meet at noon. So again, you can see the word at is a preposition of time, showing us time or the relationship of time. Then we have she succeeded because of her hard work. This is cause, like what caused her to succeed is because. So we are using the word because as a preposition of cause. And that is what we mean when we say prepositions are words that show relationships. So the relationships are very different. You could have a relationship in terms of time, in terms of location, in terms of cause, in terms of manner in which something is done, and also in terms of direction. Okay, if so far you have understood everything, let's keep moving. If you haven't, please consider asking a question in the comments and I'm going to answer the question. Okay, let's look at characteristics of prepositions. What are the characteristics of prepositions? Characteristic number 1. Prepositions are followed by a noun or a pronoun called the object of the preposition. Let me give you an example to understand this. The book is on the desk, or the book is on the table. So what we are saying is that the preposition on in this sentence is followed by a noun, which is the table. The table. So that is one characteristic. So you can say on the table, in the house. You can see that the relationship or the composition there of the preposition is preposition plus noun or plus pronoun. Okay, let's look at characteristic number 2. Prepositions form prepositional phrases which act as adjectives or adverbs. Prepositions form prepositional phrases. Now, before I give you an example on this one, let me just say something, because we have introduced another word or another term, which is prepositional phrases. Now, what is a phrase? A phrase is a group of words that work as a single unit, meaning that the meaning of that group of words is single. You can't have two meanings out of it. For example, when you say the house, it is the house. The meaning is a single. When you say the greenhouse, it is still the house which we have given color, right? If we say is sitting, is and sitting, they are the expression of the action. So in that case, the function is to express function. Although it's two words, is and sitting, like John is sitting, that's a verb phrase. And its function is singular in that it expresses action. Okay? That is a phrase. Now we are saying that prepositions form prepositional phrases. Let's go back. Let's get an example. He sat under the tree. He sat under the tree. When you look at the word, at the prepositional phrase, under the tree, so we've got under and then we've got a noun. In this sense, under the tree is a prepositional phrase because it is a phrase made up of a noun, an article, and a preposition. And the preposition in the case of this sentence is the most important word in that unit, under the tree. Therefore, it's a prepositional phrases. It's a prepositional phrase. There are so many different types of phrases. We are going to look at them in a different lesson. Okay, now let's go and look at categories of prepositions. Let's look at categories of prepositions. Prepositions can be grouped based on the type of relationship they express. I mentioned at the beginning of the lesson that prepositions can tell us the location, the time, the cause, the manner in which something is done. They can even tell us the direction. So, based on those those relationships, categories of prepositions have been formed. Let's start with number 1. Prepositions of place or location. Prepositions of place or location. In this category, you find words like in, on, between, behind, under, at, on. All these are prepositions of place or location because they tell us. If you say, he is bathing behind the house, so behind is a location. If you say, he's sitting under a tree, under is a location or is telling us the location. So when you say, he is sitting under a tree, he is related to the tree in the sense that he is under that tree. Okay, let me give you the last example. She is in the room. She is in the room. Again, you can see she, which is a pronoun, and the room are connected by the preposition in the sense that this she is in the room. The next category of prepositions is called prepositions of direction or movement. Prepositions of direction or movement. In this category, we find words like to, into, onto, towards, through. For example, he went to the park. That's the direction he went to. Or she ran through the tunnel. That's the direction she went, or that's the movement she took. So that's why we call them prepositions of direction or preposition of movement. At number 3, we have prepositions of time. Prepositions of time. These indicate the time when something happens. They indicate when something happens. And under this category, you find words like at, on, in, during, since, by. Let me give you examples. He went to the park. He went to the park at 5. He went to the park at 5. So at connects this one to the time that the person went. We will meet at 5 p.m. We will meet at 5 p.m. Now, these prepositions, some of these prepositions can be found in different categories. For example, the word at, or the preposition at, we can say, I am at home. I am at home. In this instance, at is not expressing the relationship of time. It is expressing the relationship of place. Okay? Then we have prepositions of cause, preposition of purpose, and prepositions of means. Now, these explain reasons or methods. Examples of these include because of, due to, for, with. For example, they cancelled the trip because of the weather. They cancelled the trip because of the weather. Okay, that's it for now about categories or types of prepositions. Let's look at some of the common errors that students make when using prepositions. One of the most common mistakes that is made when using prepositions is one, unnecessary prepositions. Using unnecessary prepositions, for example, where are you at? You can simply just say, where are you? You don't need to say, where are you at, right? You don't need to do that. The second error is using wrong prepositions. For example, someone will say, I am good in math. I am good in math. You don't use in when you are talking about something that you are good at. You say, I am good at math. I am good at math. And sometimes the third error is ending sentences with prepositions. Ending sentences with prepositions. Now, there are acceptable situations to this rule. There are acceptable situations to this rule. For example, you can say, what are you waiting for? That is acceptable. That is acceptable. And you may not say things like, she is good math in, or like we saw, where are you at? Where are you at? In that case, the at is not necessary. Okay, now let me tell you another thing about prepositions. When prepositions work with nouns, sometimes the pairing is natural. Sometimes prepositions pair with nouns in a natural way and you cannot separate them. For example, when you say interest, he has an interest in that shoe. Interest goes with in. You cannot separate interest from in. Another example, for, in reason for. What is the reason for the delay? What is the reason for the delay? So you cannot remove for from reason in that case. Another thing that you should note is that when prepositions work with verbs, certain verbs are followed by specific prepositions and you cannot separate them. I'm going to the word depend. You can say, I depend on you. You cannot remove on and put a different prepositions like I depend at you, I depend with you, I depend under you, above you, behind you, I depend behind you. No, it's I depend on, because that is the pair in that case. That is the pair in that case. How about the verb apologize? You can say, I apologize for being late. You can't say, I apologize on being late. I apologize. That there is no two ways about it. And then another situation that we need to know about prepositions is when we use them in idioms. Now, in creating idioms or in using idioms, Prepositions are an essential part in many idioms. Let's give an example. When you say under the weather, he is under the weather, it means he's feeling sick. So you can see how under the weather is formed with that preposition. How about on top of the world? Again, you can see on there as part of that idiom, which means feeling great. Okay? That is how prepositions work. Now, if you have been with me up to this point, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell, because I believe that these lessons are going to help you in one way or the other. We are going to end this lesson at this point. I'm going to see you in the next lesson when you consider conjunctions. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.